Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Jason, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I want to go over 5 workouts that can significantly improve your performance or the performance of your athletes for 800 meters. And as you know, 800 meters is not only a painful race, but it's a race where it's very difficult to run evenly. And it's very difficult to run a negative split. The majority of the races tend to be a positive split, where the second half is slower than the first half. But the best 800-meter performances tend to have a very thin, narrow margin, maybe 2 to 3 seconds on a positive split, instead of 6, 7, 8, or 10 seconds. And that's where the more experience and kind of more savvy, more kind of strategic racing comes into play. And if you have a well-balanced training program, where you're training at 5K pace, 3K pace, mile pace, 800, 400 top end sprint, then you're in a position to capitalize on that stuff and to minimize the split between the first 2 races, or even put yourself in a position to run an even race or a negative split. Okay, negative split's not the norm, but it does happen. Positive split's also not the norm. I mean, the norm is generally a positive split. I'm sorry, evenly races, I should say, are not the norm. Positive splits are generally the norm, but one of the most notorious evenly run races is the 1972 Olympics, where Dave Waddle from USA won the gold medal. The guy with the white hat. Wottle. If you don't know who he is, take a look at the video. It's a pretty incredible race, and you'll see him run one of the most evenly run 800-meter races ever. And it looks like he's just running this monster negative split, whereas actually the guys that were way ahead of him, he was pretty much dead last at 400, and then he was just gobbling guys up in the second lap, gobbling them up. They were slowing down because they went out too fast. He kept going and maintaining his pace, and he was just biding his time, being patient, and he wound up winning the Olympic gold medalist that way. It was one of the most incredible 800-meter races I've seen. And obviously, David Rudisha's world record, the 140.91, the negative, it was a positive split, but it was only about a 2-second positive split. So that's probably as good as you can get, particularly for a world record, too. But these 5 workouts, I think they'll give you some variety, and I have used them on athletes at all levels. And so I'll go over them, and then I'll take you over to the whiteboard so you can actually take a look. And if you want to write them down, you can. But I want to go over them because there's logic behind them too. And I'm going to use 2 minutes, 2:30, and 3 minutes as examples because they're easily calculatable numbers, between 60, 75, and 90 seconds per 400. They're just easily to calculate and make and easier to understand for workouts like this. So the first workout is essentially 4 sets of 2 by 200 or 8 by 200 meters in total. So miles worth of running at 800-meter pace or slightly faster. You take a minute in between the 2 reps of the set and 2 minutes after the set, okay? Or you're essentially running after the first, third, fifth, and 7th rep, you're going to take a minute rest, and after the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th rep, you take 2 minutes, okay? Which kind of breaks up the set. The first, the odd number reps you're running at about current pace. So let's say for the 2-minute half milers, you're running them in 30. For the 2:30 half milers, you're running them in 37. For the 3-minute half milers, you're running them in 45. And the second lap is going to be, the second 200 is going to be about 2 seconds faster. So you're going from 30 to 28. So after the 2nd, 4th, and 6th, 8th, you're running 28s for the 2 minutes runners, 35s for the 2:30 runners, and 43s for the 3-minute runners, okay? This gives you 8 total 200-meter efforts at either current or faster than current 800-meter pace, okay? A mile's worth of running, okay? If you can get to the point where you're running 8 or 10 or 12 of them consecutively with a minute recovery at your goal 800-meter pace, then you're doing pretty well, okay? But this is a way of breaking it up in the sets so that you can gradually build into that. That's the first workout, okay? The second one is a 500-200, with the 500 being at current 800-meter pace, and the 200 being slightly faster, about 2 seconds per 200 faster than that, okay? You take 90 seconds after the 500 and about 8 minutes of recovery, 6 to 8 minutes of recovery after the 200, giving you 2 sets, okay? Or breaking it up. The idea is to do 2 sets, and for the more fit, more experienced athletes, if you can get to 3 sets, that's wonderful. But at the minimum of 2 sets, okay? So for the 2-minute runners, the 500s at 115, and then the 200s at 28. For the 2:30 runners, 133 for the 500, 33s for the 200. For the 3-minute runners, 152 for the 500, and 43 seconds for the 200. So again, 90 seconds after the 500, and then you take 6 to 8 minutes after the 200, and you repeat. Okay. Workout number 3 is 2 sets of 2 by 400. Okay, so 4 times 400 meters total running. But it's broken up in such a way so that you're running 3 minutes in between the 2 reps in the set and 6 minutes in between the set. Or after the first rep, 3 minutes. After the second rep, 6 minutes. After the third rep, 3 minutes. And then you run your last rep. The goal is to run them at goal 800 meter pace. So for the 2 minute runners, you're looking to run them in 60. For the 230s, you're looking to run them in 75, and for the or 115. And for the 3 minute runners, you're looking to run them in 90 seconds or 130. Okay. Then you calculate the average. You add them up, and then you see what it averages out to, and you'll see how close you are towards the 800. Okay. If you can get to the point where you're running 4 times the 400 with a 3 minute recovery after each one, that's good progress. Really, really good progress. And then you'll see how much closer you are to the average, or you might even be a little bit ahead of that. Workout number 4 is a 600 meters, 600 meter rep at current 800 meter pace. Okay, you take a 6 to 8 minute active recovery, and then 8 by 200 meter efforts at goal 800 meter pace, or slightly, about 2 seconds faster per 200. You average it out, it's about an 8-second improvement for 800 meters. That's pretty significant over a season. Okay. The first time, this is a repeatable workout, so the first time you do it, you do your 600, you take your 6 to 8 minutes of recovery, and then you run 8 by 200s with a 45-second recovery. And the second time you do it, and you could do maybe 6 weeks later, you do the same 600 meter effort, 6 to 8 minutes recovery, but then you run the 8 by 200s with 30 seconds recovery. Okay. Now, some of your younger athletes might be able to do 5 or 6 200s. That's totally fine. The more experienced, 8 times a 200 meter effort. Okay. So your 2 minute runners will run 130 for the 600 and about 28 seconds for the 800 for the 200s, or 28, 29. And believe me, you'll feel the junk and lactic in your legs and your lungs burning after having that 600 in your legs, and then running this series of 800s with short recovery. But this is a great way of simulating 800 meter race, and the pain and the uncomfortable feeling that hits the body at 500, 600, 700 meters. This is a great way of mitigating it and being ready for it. Okay, and being able to still hold pace and either keep even or run faster. Okay, where most of the athletes tend to slow down at this point or hang on for dear life. The 230 runners will run 152 for the 600 and 35-36 for the 200s. And for the 3 minute runners, you run 215 for the 600 and 43 to 44 seconds for the 200s. Okay, and workout number 5 is 2 sets of 300, 500. Now I'm flipping it. I'm going shorter rep first, longer rep second, instead of the other way around. This is a workout that you can also do like 3 times that I've done, and I've done it in 3 different ways, and maybe like break it up 4 weeks apart from each other. So the first time you do it, you run the 300 and the 500 at current 800 meter pace. The second time you do it, you run your 300 at current 800 meter pace and the 500 at goal 800 meter pace. And then the last time you do it, you run both of them at goal 800 meter pace. Okay? Take 2 minutes in between the 300 and the 500, and then 8 minutes in between the set, and you repeat for a second set. So it's 2 sets. Okay? It's a mile of total running, but the reps are a little different now. But this creates a different scenario too. This is a scenario where you can train to kind of go a little bit earlier in the 800 meter race. And I think about it this way. If you can run the first 300 like a 500, but then the last 500 like a 300, you're going to be pretty difficult to beat in 800 meters, okay? And throwing people off too, you'll see. And this is where analyzing your competition comes into play. You're a coach looking at your competitors, who are the people we need to worry about at a conference and so on for 800. Watch how they race. Take splits, or have somebody else take splits, and you'll see how they race. And then you see how your own athletes race. You do the same thing. And having workouts like this, and you might be able to do a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that, it helps create a better race strategy for you. But being ready, and this is where a well-balanced training approach comes into play, being ready for any type of scenario makes you that much more versatile, that much more dangerous, okay, on the track. Okay, so this is a scenario where you run the shorter rep first and the longer rep second. Yes, you'll feel it, but this is a invaluable workout. Okay, for the 2 minute runners, that's 45 seconds. For the 300, 112. For the 500. For the 230s, 56 seconds. For the 300 and 130 for the 500. And this is where the 300's at current and the 500's at goal. Okay. For the 800, for the 3 minute runners, looking at 67 for the 200 and then 148, excuse me, for the 300, and then 148 for the 500. Add it up, okay? You're looking at 157 for the 2-minute runners. You're looking at 226 for the 230 runners, and you're looking at 255 for the 3-minute runners. And improvement. That's progress for the 800 meters, okay? That shows you're stepping in the right direction. So those are the 5 workouts. Let me take you over here so you can actually take a look at it here, okay? And let me put you here. All right, so this is the first one. And again, you can write this down now. I'll explain it to you, but it's all written down now. Your 4 sets of 2 by 200, a minute in between the rep, 2 minutes in between the set. Rep number 1 at goal 800 meter pace. Rep number 2, 2 seconds faster than goal 800 meter pace. Or it could be at current and goal, whichever you feel is most appropriate for yourself, your athletes. Second one, 2 to 3 sets of 500, 200. You take a minute after the 500 or 90 seconds, okay? And then you run about 8 minutes in between the set, okay? The 500 meter rep is at 800 pace, and then 200 rep is at 2 minutes faster per 200 than 800 meter pace, okay? The third one, 2 sets of 2 by 400, which is 4 by 400 total, 3 minutes after the rep, 6 minutes in between the set, at goal 800 meter pace. 4, 600 meters at 800 meter pace, current. Then you take your 6 to 8 minute recovery. Then you do 8 by 200, rest 45 seconds or 30 at goal 800 meter pace. And another option that I didn't mention is 4 by 300 meters with a 1 minute recovery at your goal 800 meter pace. Okay? So it's another way of doing it. So instead of those 28s, you'd be running 42s. Okay, let me look at this. Instead of the, where is it? Instead of the 35s, you'd be running 52s. And instead of the 43s, you'd be running 64s. Okay, and it's another way of doing it as well. So it's completely up to you as whether you want to run 200 meters or 300 meters. Either way, they're going to be a really good back-end part of this workout to complement that 600. Okay, and number 5, 2 sets of 300, 500. 2 minutes in between, okay, and then you take 8 minutes in between the set, okay, at goal 800 meter pace or current and goal, whatever you feel is your athletes are at, or the best option is. You might break them up into groups based on need, but these are 5 great workouts that can really, really significantly help your 800 meter performance, okay. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. Give me your feedback. And if you have other workout ideas of your own, put them in the comments. Let's share them with everybody. My goal is to make this channel one of the best running channels out there for YouTube, the most informative, and we're part of a running community, so I want to help as many people as I can. Okay? I do speak from experience, but I don't want to keep all these secrets. You know, they're not secrets, okay? I want everybody to do well. I want other coaches to be successful too, and other athletes. So my next video, I'm going to do 5 workouts to significantly improve the 1,500 mile performance. So be ready for that one, because that's going to be a good one too. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification so you don't miss it. Take a look in the description down below. You'll see a bunch of other videos on training. And I've got fully detailed programs from 800 all the way up to the marathon. So take a look at my channel. I think you'll find a lot of good stuff. So be safe and look out for each other. And I'll talk to you next time.